Tomar sat on the dusty floor of his small home, staring at the last photo of his parents. The old wooden frame shook in his hands. Outside, the city buzzed with machines, drones, and heavy footsteps. His home was quiet like the last breath before. A storm dot, it was a small house, but it had meaning. His father had built it after the war. It was one of the oldest buildings in the city, handmade, with stone walls and a red roof. All the other homes had turned into tall metal towers, filled with glass and noise, but Tomar never wanted to leave. This house was all he had left. He looked at the clock. 9:59 a.m. Then came the knock. Sharp, cold. Tom opened the door. 2 officers stood outside, not human. Metal bodies, red eyes, and Galexcorp logos on their arms. Behind them hovered a drone with a camera, recording everything. Tomar reddened, the robot officer said. You have been legally evicted by Galexcorp Banking Authority. Your house will be cleared in 10 minutes. Please step outside. Tomar's hands shook. This is my home. I have lived here all my life. My father, your payments were missed for 6 months, the robot said. You were warned. You have no ownership rights. This land is now property of Galexcorp. He looked around. The street was empty. His neighbors had already left months ago. New construction signs stood at every corner. A huge luxury tower was being built where the old street used to be. Tomar's heart pounded. Please, give me more time. I'll find a way to pay. This place is all I have. That is not possible, the robot replied. You are trespassing on company property. The drone flew closer, capturing Tomar's face. A voice came from it, a soft, fake-sounding woman's voice. Thank you for your cooperation, citizen. Galexcorp promises a better tomorrow. Tomar didn't move. He stood tall, eyes burning. He had served in the war. He had built machines for the city. And now, the same city had turned against him. The officers stepped inside. One of them grabbed the photo from his hand and dropped it to the floor. The frame cracked. Tomar was pushed out of the door. He stumbled onto the street. His knees hit the hard concrete. 10 minutes later, machines rolled in. Robotic arms tore down the walls. The red roof cracked. Dust rose into the sky like smoke. From a fire, Tomar sat on the sidewalk and watched everything fall. People passed by, but no one looked at him. He was just another man without a home. Another forgotten soul in the city of lights. A rich couple walked past. The man wore silver shoes. The woman had shiny blue skin. She was half augmented. They stepped into a floating car and flew off. Tomar didn't cry. He didn't speak. He just stared at the empty space where his house used to be. That night, the city lights glowed bright, but Tomar slept in an alley behind a closed factory. The cold metal wall pressed against his back. He thought of the war. The things he had done to protect Earth. The promises they made to him. You will be honored, they had said. You will never be forgotten. But here he was alone, cold, and erased. He looked up at the stars. They looked the same as always, far, cold, silent. I will come back, he whispered to the sky. Not just for me, but for all of us. His voice was calm, but inside, something had changed. The city had taken everything from him. But in that loss, he had found something stronger. A reason. In the morning, Tomar walked out of the city. No one stopped him. No one cared. He walked past towers of glass, flying cars, and robotic workers. Past the edge of the city where the soil was still real and the sky was not hidden behind screens. He had no home, no money. But he had time. And he had a mind that once built machines for war. He knew the systems. He knew how they worked, and more importantly, he knew their weaknesses. The world had forgotten him. That was their mistake. Tomar disappeared into the WASTELAND stat beyond the city. Past the rich towers and robot farms, there was a place where no rules lived. Old mines, broken ships, forgotten people. Some called it the Rust Belt, others called it home. Tomar didn't care what name it had. He just needed a place to vanish. He found work on an asteroid mining ship called Hollow Drill 7. It was run by private contractors, not part of the city. Most of the crew were rejects, people who lost jobs, homes, or names. No one asked questions out here. Tomar used a fake ID, Rick Dan. He kept his head down, worked the hard shifts, and listened more than he spoke. The work was brutal. The air always smelled like metal. The drills roared day and night. Gravity came and went depending on power use. One mistake could throw you into space. But Tomar didn't complain. He was used to pain. Months passed. One day, while working deep in a dark tunnel of the asteroid, Tomar's drill hit something strange. Not rock, not metal. It was smoother, stronger. He cleared it carefully. Under the dust was a dark blue surface, pulsing faintly like it was alive. It wasn't human tech. It wasn't even from Earth. Tomar had heard rumors alien relics buried in asteroid cores, left from wars no one talked about. Most workers would report it and get moved. But not Tomar. He stayed silent and studied it. At night, in secret, he scanned the alien tech using old tools he built from scrap. Over time, he learned it controlled energy fields. It could bend machines, turn off power, even confuse AI systems. It was beautiful and dangerous. Tomar started building devices using this strange technology, small at first. A cube that could shut off lights. A bracelet that could jam a drone. A coin-sized chip that could block face scans. He tested them slowly, always in private. Then, one day, there was an accident. A support beam inside the mine broke. 5 workers were trapped in a narrow tunnel. Fire spread fast. The escape path was blocked. The auto-rescue drones failed, jammed by the heat and smoke. Everyone froze. Tomar didn't. He ran into the tunnel with a pack of his tools. He used the alien chip to blind the flame sensors so the doors would open. He used an energy cube to pull down a wall panel. With his homemade gear, he led the 5 workers out alive. He became a ghost hero. The crew didn't know who he was. But they knew one thing. This man saved lives. After that, Tomar's life changed. One of the rescued men, Milo, followed him. "You're not just some miner," he said. "You have knowledge. Real power." Tomar didn't answer. But Milo kept asking questions. He wasn't the only one. Soon, a group of 10 workers gathered around Tomar during rest breaks. They all had stories: evicted, broken, forgotten. They had lost homes, families, honor. Like Tomar. And they wanted more than survival. They wanted purpose. Tomar looked at them carefully. Then he made a decision. He told them his real name. "I was thrown out of my home by a bank. The house my father built was destroyed. I begged, but they didn't care. They said the land belonged to them." He stood and looked them in the eyes. "They took everything. But now, I have something they can't steal: knowledge. I know their systems. I know how they think. And with this alien tech, we can do what they fear most." "What's that?" asked Milo. Tomar's voice was calm, but full of fire. "We take it back, not just my home, all of it, for everyone." The plan began. Tomar and his group secretly collected old mining bots, scrap metal, ship parts, anything they could use. They worked at night, hiding their efforts inside the asteroid's deep tunnels. They built a hidden base and called it the Forge. Inside it, they created Arcbreaker, a flying machine like no other. It looked like a cargo hauler from the outside. But inside, it was a lab, a ship, and a weapon. Arcbreaker ran on alien energy. It had tech that could disable power grids, jam city drones, and bend building smart systems. It was not built to destroy. It was built to reset the balance. Before they left the asteroid, they needed to test their power. There was a small Galix Corp station nearby Outpost Zeta. known for treating workers like dirt. People there were forced to pay for air and food. While company bosses lived in skypods, Tomar's team flew to the station. Pretending to deliver parts, they sent a quiet signal using the alien tech. In 10 minutes, lights went out. Drones fell from the sky. Security robots shut down. The food vaults unlocked. The workers were shocked. Free. Tomar didn't stay. He left a message on every screen. We are not slaves. We are not numbers. We are coming home. On the way back, Milo looked at Tomar and smiled. You did it, he said. Tomar didn't smile. This was only a whisper, he replied. Now we go where they hear us loud. He looked out at the stars toward Earth, toward the place where his home once stood. The forge came alive with purpose. Deep inside the asteroid, far from any radar or satellite, Tomar and his team worked day and night. The sound of welding sparks echoed through the tunnels. Heavy machines moved across metal floors. It was not just a workshop, it was the birth of something powerful. Arcbreaker stood at the center. A ship made of old mining parts, armored scrap, and alien energy nodes. From the outside, it still looked like a regular cargo ship, rusty, slow, harmless. But inside, it was something else. It had no weapons. It didn't need them. Tomar and Milo stood at a long table, looking at blueprints. This system, Tomar said, pointing at a small glowing cube, can shut down a city's power for 30 minutes. And this one? Milo asked. That blocks facial scans and drone tracking. Even satellites won't see us. Milo smiled. Then we can land anywhere. Tomar nodded. And we will. Others joined them. Word spread through deep space channels. And forgotten worker networks. Homeless veterans. Fired engineers. Farmers who lost land. Mechanics who couldn't pay their taxes. All of them had been pushed out by corporations like Galax Corp. They didn't come for revenge. They came for hope. Inside the forge, these people found new purpose. Everyone brought a skill. Some could fly ships. Others could build code. A few were just strong hands with good hearts. Tomar didn't treat anyone like a soldier. He treated them like family. Each one had a story. Each one had been broken. Now they were building something together. Call us what you want, Tomar told them, standing atop a cargo crate. Outlaws, ghosts, rebels. But remember this, we're not here to destroy. We're here to return what was stolen. Not with bullets, but with truth and tech. Cheers echoed through the tunnels. They started calling themselves the Gray Sparks. The third month, they completed Arcbreaker's main system, the Pulse Grid. It was based on alien energy tech. With one signal, it could cause machines to forget their commands. Doors would unlock, lights would flicker, robots would stop mid-step. It didn't hurt people, but it confused systems that relied on digital control. Tomar tested it on a nearby abandoned station. It went dark in seconds. Security walls opened. II units wandered in circles. It was like waking up a sleeping beast. Imagine doing this to a rich neighborhood. Milo said. Tomar didn't smile. We won't imagine it. We'll do it. They added stealth panels to Arcbreaker scrap from old space warships. It could now fly past scanners without being seen. The ship had no weapons, but it had over 50 drones packed with tools, scanners, and special chips. Each drone could fly into buildings, plug into systems, and rewrite commands. A silent invasion. They also built energy cloaks, wearable vests that blocked face scans and fingerprint IDs. It was like becoming invisible. Tomar tested one inside a trade post. The city AI didn't even see him walk past the entry gates. When he returned, he said one thing. It works. We're ready. Before they left, Tomar gathered his team for one last message. There's a place called 12 Heights, he said. Built where my house once stood. Full of towers. Full of lies. Rich people who never lifted a hand now live where my father died. He looked around the room. They think they own it all. But land belongs to those who need it. We're not going there to hurt anyone. We're going to take back what's ours and give it to the people who were cast out like us. Silence. Then, one voice, "We're with you, Tomar." Another followed, "We fly at your word." And soon, the room filled with voices. The next morning, Arcbreaker lifted off. It didn't roar like other ships. It moved like a shadow, silent, calm, steady. Inside, Tomar sat in the command chair. Next to him was Milo, holding a small old photo of his wife. She had died during a forced eviction. The bank took their farm for a solar tower. Tomar touched his own pocket. Inside was the broken photo frame from his father's house, the one the robot guard had dropped. "Are you sure we're ready?" Milo asked. Tomar looked out the window. Earth glowed in the distance, more ready than they'll ever be. Hours later, they reached Earth's orbit. The planet had changed. Mega towers rose from every major city. Green fields were covered with glass domes. Oceans had floating factories. But 12 Heights still stood proudly, shining like a golden crown above the rest. 12 Heights was fully automated. No police, no guards, just drones and smart systems. Only the rich could enter. Everyone else stayed out. Tomar sent a scout drone ahead. It flew low and scanned the area. Dozens of luxury towers, hundreds of smart homes. One large AI core, deep underground. Perfect. Night covered the city like a soft blanket. From above, 12 Heights looked perfect. Bright towers, clean streets, peaceful lights glowing in every window. But Tomar knew better. He knew the truth hiding under the lights. This place was built on stolen land. His land. Inside the command deck of Arcbreaker, Tomar stood in silence. His team surrounded him: Milo, Lessa the hacker, Bryn the engineer, and others. Every one of them had lost something to Galix Corp. And now, every one of them had a reason to fight. Tomar opened a small panel in front of him and pressed a glowing button. A quiet hum filled the ship. "All drones go," he said. 30 black drones flew out of Arcbreaker like birds in the night. They were small, fast, and silent. Each one carried tools: hacking chips, jammers, scanners, and small cubes built from alien tech. Their job was not to destroy, but to enter and control. Each drone had a target: power stations, security hubs, camera towers, gate controls, AI signal points. One by one, they landed on rooftops, walls, and light poles. Tiny arms came out and plugged into wires and ports. Inside Arcbreaker, Lessa smiled. "They're in. Systems are cracking like eggs." Tomar looked at the map. Green lights started appearing. Green meant control gained. In just 20 minutes, half of 12 Heights systems were in Tomar's hands. Doors began unlocking. Elevators stopped between floors. Personal drones froze mid-air. Smart windows shut and stayed dark. Security systems tried to restart, but kept looping. Inside the towers, rich residents woke up confused. Their air conditioning turned off. Their lights blinked. Some couldn't open the fridge. Their watches didn't connect to the home AI. "What's happening?" One man shouted, tapping his wall screen. "System error." "Please wait," the AI said in a calm voice. But the error didn't go away. Tomar turned to Bryn. "Is the AI core exposed?" Bryn checked the screen. "Yes, the last drone reached the main link. We can speak through it now." Tomar nodded. "Good." He tapped a mic. "Begin the message." All across 12 Heights, every screen flickered. Giant tower displays, smart mirrors, hologram ads, even wrist devices. They all changed to show the same face: Tomar's. He wore a simple jacket and had no mask. His voice was calm but strong. "To the people of 12 Heights," he said, "this land was once my home. It was taken from me, just like many of you took it from others. This place was built on silence, on power, on lies." He paused. "But Today, we're taking it back. Not just for me, but for every worker, every family, every soul thrown away by greed. No one will be harmed, but your comfort is over. The system that protected you is now ours. You may leave or stay without control. The choice is yours. The screen went black. Panic began. Some rich residents tried to leave in flying cars, but the drone net blocked the sky route. Some tried to call for help, but their signals never reached outside. Others ran to their security rooms, but the doors wouldn't open. Children cried. Old men shouted. Everyone blamed the system. No one realized that the system itself had changed sides. Tomar watched from Arcbreaker. How long before the AI resets? He asked. Lessa shook her head. It won't. We used a time shift loop. Their AI thinks it's still midnight. It won't react until we let it. Milo leaned closer. So what now? Do we force them out? Tomar looked at the city one more time. No, he said. We let them choose. He sent a new signal. Giant street speakers came to life. All residents of 12 Heights, you are free to leave. But you may not return. This land is now under protection of the Arc League. We do not serve banks, we serve people. The next morning, the streets of 12 Heights were filled with noise, but not from machines. From people, dozens of rich families walked out with bags and rolling carts. Some left crying. Some shouted in anger. A few begged to stay, but no one stopped them. The drones simply floated above, watching quietly. Galexcorp sent messages demanding an end to the invasion. Tomar sent one reply. You took land with laws. We took it back with truth. If you come with weapons, you'll find only silence and defeat. By noon, the last resident of 12 Heights left through the south gate, and then silence. For the first time in years, the tower stood empty. No fake music. No ads, no robot guards, just quiet. Tomar stepped off Arcbreaker and walked down the clean road. His boots echoed with each step. He passed the exact place where his old house once stood. Nothing was left. Just a polished tile square. He knelt down and placed a small stone there, a marker. This was home, he whispered. Milo stood beside him. It is again. That night, the gray sparks opened the gates. Buses arrived from the outer zones. Families who lived in tents, elders who slept in alleys, mothers with kids, men who had lost everything. They looked around with wide eyes. Towers so tall, streets so clean. Tomar welcomed them all. This place belongs to you now, he said. Not to banks, not to greed, but to people who know its worth. A boy held his mother's hand. Is this real? He asked. She smiled through tears. Yes, it is. The sun rose over 12 Heights, shining on tall towers and clean streets. But this time, no rich people looked out from their windows. No private drones filled the air. No security robots rolled across the roads. Instead, children played in the parks. Old people sat on benches. Families opened windows to fresh air, not filtered by expensive systems. For the first time in years, the city was quiet and free. Tomar stood on the rooftop of the tallest tower. He looked down at the place where his house had once been. The stone markers still rested there. It wasn't fancy, but it was true. This is just the beginning, he said softly. Milo walked up beside him. We did it. They left. Tomar nodded. Yes, but they'll be back. That afternoon, a ship flew above the city. Sleek, silver, and fast. It belonged to Gilex Corp. Inside the ship sat 4 company officers. Not soldiers, but worse. They were reclaim agents, trained to take back land through system control. Not war. We will not attack, said the lead officer. We will disable. They sent a signal to restart the Eye of 12 Heights. They tried to turn the security walls back on. They tried to connect to the tower systems. Nothing worked. Inside their ship, alarms blinked red. System locked by unknown source. City. AI not responding. Firewalls looping. What's happening? One officer shouted. A new message appeared on their screen. We are the Ark League. This land belongs to the people now. Not for sale, not for rent, not for you. Down below, Tomar and Lessa smiled. They tried to take it back, Lessa said. Typing quickly. But they're locked out. We used the loop you built. Their codes bounce like balls in a box. Tomar leaned over. Good, but now they know we're serious. He turned to Melo. Prepare the net. If they send more ships, I want the skies protected. Within hours, Galix Corp called for a city meeting. All over Earth, on every major news screen, a man in. A perfect black suit appeared. He had no name. Just a title, Director of Urban Order. He spoke in a calm, cold voice. A group of cybercriminals has taken over a luxury zone. They are armed with illegal technology. We are working to restore peace. Tomar watched the speech from inside Arkbreaker. They call us criminals, Bryn said. Even though we haven't hurt a single soul, Tomar didn't respond. He just stared at the screen. The next day, things got worse. Galix Corp sent a small fleet of cleaning drones into 12 Heights. They were meant to spray the air with sleep gas and remove all people for safety. But Tomar's team was ready. Before the drones entered, they passed through a hidden energy field placed over the north gate. The field scrambled their signals. The drones dropped from the sky like stones. Children ran to the streets, laughing as they picked up the broken parts. Milo chuckled. Our tech still wins. Later that evening, a group of city guards came close to the neighborhood gates. They stood in metal armor, holding stun rifles, waiting for orders, but before they could step forward, all the streetlights turned red. Then, the loudspeakers came on. A deep voice echoed across the walls. No entry. This land is under protection. Please return to your zone. No harm will come to you if you turn back now. The guards looked at each other. They had no backup, no air support. Their rifles were useless against an invisible network of control. They left. Inside the city, people began to talk. Did you hear? The poor live in 12 Heights now. Tomar reddened. I thought he vanished. They didn't use weapons, just smart tech. Real smart, some supported Galix Corp. Others, quietly, began to support Tomar and the Ark League. In outer zones. More people lit small blue lights on their rooftops, the symbol of the gray sparks. It meant, we are with you. Meanwhile, inside 12 Heights, the people got to work. They planted food on the rooftops, turned luxury kitchens into public eating halls, shared rooms, built schools inside empty towers, used drones to clean streets instead of spying. Lessa taught kids how to code. Milo taught them how to build simple machines. Bryn worked on fixing water systems. Tomar walked every street, talked to every person. He didn't act like a king. He acted like a neighbor. We're not just keeping this place, he said. We're rebuilding it for all. One evening, as Tomar walked to the place where his house once stood, a woman stopped him. She looked about 60, with silver hair and kind eyes. You're the one who started this? She asked. Tomar nodded. She smiled. I lost my home 5 years ago. My son worked for the company that threw us out. Now he's gone, but I'm still here. And today, I have a room again. A bed, a warm meal. Thank you. Tomar didn't say much. He just held her hand for a moment and said, this is your home now. But in the sky above, trouble gathered. Galix Corp was angry. Their messages had failed. Their tech had failed. Even fear had failed. They began building a plan. A plan not just to take back 12 Heights, but to crush the Ark League completely. Inside Arkbreaker, Milo looked at new scans. They're building something near Earth's orbit. A new station. Tomar looked at the screen. It's time, he said. They're done talking. Now they'll bring force. Lessa asked, what do we do? Tomar answered without fear. We hold the line, we don't run. Because this time, we are not alone. The air was thick with hope and hard work. 12 Heights was no longer a place of luxury for the few. It had become a home for many. Tomar stood on a rooftop garden, watching people below. Families were planting vegetables, children were playing, and neighbors were sharing stories. The empty towers had found new life. Beside him, Milo handed Tomar a small cup of warm tea. We never imagined it would grow this fast. Tomar smiled softly. When people get a chance, they build more than just houses. They build futures. Days passed, and the Arc League worked harder than ever. They repaired old water systems and cleaned polluted air. Engineers built solar panels on every roof. Drones delivered medicine to those who needed it. Lessa opened a small coding school for children in one of the empty towers. Kids learned how to create apps, fix machines, and understand the world's new technology. One day, a boy raised his hand and asked, "Will we be safe here?" Lessa looked at him and said, "We protect each other. That makes us strong." News of the new settlement spread across the city and beyond. Videos showed families eating together, schools filled with laughter, and empty buildings transformed into homes that at first many doubted. They thought it was a trick or a temporary thing. But as days turned into weeks, the truth became clear. People were coming back, from other parts of the city and even from outer zones. Groups of displaced families began to arrive. Some walked miles with little belongings. Others came in small ships, hoping to find a new start. Tomar welcomed them all. "This place is for anyone who wants a home. No questions asked," he said. GalaxCorp's media tried to spin stories about illegal occupation and dangerous rebels, but the people ignored it. Social networks showed real faces and real stories. Support grew. In nearby neighborhoods, small protests began. People demanded land reform. They wanted their homes back too. One afternoon, Tomar and Milo walked through a busy street in 12 Heights. Children ran past with painted faces. Women sold fresh fruit. Men repaired a broken SDREE to LIGHT. Milo stopped at a small shop, looked at the sign, "The New Home Cafe." He laughed. "Remember when this was a drone charging station?" Tomar smiled. "Now it's a place where people share meals." That night, under the stars, a meeting was held in the largest tower's hall. People gathered to discuss the future. Tomar stood before them. "We've taken back our homes, but we must not forget, this is just the start." He paused, looking around at faces full of hope and determination. "We will build schools, hospitals, and parks. We will work together to make this place safe and free." A cheer rose from the crowd. But beyond the city, GalaxCorp was not silent. They had sent ships and troops to orbit, preparing for a big strike. Tomar knew it was coming. "We can't hide anymore," he said to Milo. "They want a war." Milo clenched his fists. "Then we give them a fight they won't forget." Inside 12 Heights, preparations began. Engineers built hidden energy shields around the perimeter. Farmers created food supplies. Medics trained volunteers, but Tomar made one clear rule: no guns, no violence unless they attack first. He believed the people's power was in unity, not weapons. One morning, as the sun rose, a fleet of GalaxCorp ships appeared in orbit. Lights blinked across the sky. They sent messages demanding surrender. Tomar's team watched from Arcbreaker. Lessa looked at the screen. "They want to scare us." Tomar's eyes burned with determination. "They'll learn that people who fight for their homes don't back down." The Arc League sent messages to nearby colonies and cities, asking for help and support. Many responded. People across the galaxy began to stand with them. 12 Heights was no longer just a neighborhood. It was a symbol. That night, Tomar walked alone to the place where his father's house had been. The stone marker shone softly under the moonlight. He knelt down and whispered, we're not alone anymore. This is just the beginning. Behind him, the city glowed with life, people building their futures together, free from fear. The morning sun rose over Earth, shining softly on 12 heights. The towers stood tall and proud, not as symbols of wealth, but as monuments of hope. Tomar stood on the highest rooftop, looking over the city he and his people had reclaimed. Below, families moved freely, gardens bloomed on terraces. Children laughed and played where once only silence had lived. But the peace was fragile. Galaxcorp had sent its ships and forces to orbit above Earth. Their goal was clear: to crush the Ark League and take back what they had lost. Tomar knew this day was coming. Inside Arkbreaker, Milo checked the screens showing the approaching fleet. "They're ready to strike," Milo said quietly. Tomar nodded. "So are we." The Ark League was not a large army. They had no tanks or soldiers. But they had something else: people who believed in justice, in home, in hope. Every drone, every energy shield, every secret device was ready. And the people of 12 Heights stood behind Tomar. They had no guns, but they had unity. Galaxcorp's fleet sent a message: surrender now or face destruction. The message warned. Tomar replied simply, "We will never surrender what belongs to the people." The first attack came with speed. Galaxcorp's drones flew low, dropping nets to capture Arkbreaker's smaller drones. The sky filled with light and sound as machines fought in silence, but Tomar's drones slipped through energy shields, hacking into enemy systems. The alien technology confused Galaxcorp's weapons. Drones fell from the sky. Ships lost control. The fight was fierce but brief. On the ground, people worked together. They helped each other. The Ark League opened medical tents, fed families, and kept the city calm. Tomar walked among the people, his face calm but focused. "This fight is not just for today," he said. "It's for every future generation." Galaxcorp's leaders realized their force was not enough. They asked the Earth Council to intervene. The Council was the planet's highest authority, meant to keep peace. Representatives arrived in the city. They listened to both sides. When they saw the strength and spirit of the people, they understood. A new law was made that day. No company could claim land without fair treatment of its people. No one could be evicted without help and compensation. The Ark League was recognized as a protector of rights. 12 Heights became a symbol of change, a new future for humanity. Tomar was offered a high position in the council, a chance to lead the city, but he shook his head. "I am not a leader," he said softly. "I am a servant of the people." Instead, he chose to form the Ark League, a group dedicated to helping others reclaim their homes and rights across the galaxy. Years passed. The movement spread beyond Earth. Colonies and planets began to change. People united, fought for justice, and built better lives. One day, a young girl walked into Tomar's rebuilt home. She held a small stone in her hand. "Thank you," she whispered. Tomar smiled. The fight had started with one man thrown out of his home, but it ended with a new law, one that protected all. And it began a story of hope that would last for generations.